Hello there, Big Benedict here. We're playing God of War 3 Remastered on Chaos difficulty, and this is my Pain Plus guide and walkthrough. We're currently on installment the 22nd. It is entitled The Labyrinth. So I'm not sure what was happening to the textures right there. I tried to fix it. It seemed ingrained into my save. I apologize about that. This is a cheerless slugfest and a very difficult situation. Particularly to no damage. So I have a very specific way of doing this, and I think that if you adhere to it, you won't have too many troubles. But this enemy has to be killed in more or less tandem. So you don't want to focus all of your hits on one enemy. Move around and make sure that you're distributing your damage as much as possible, because this is a situation, without question, where you want the circle button over both of them so that you can execute them one after the next. I believe that's what we did with the stone taloses in Hell's Carousel, and we're going to do the same thing here. Because after you kill one of these bronze taloses, you will spawn a mongrel, and 30 seconds after that, you will spawn a room full of the smaller mongrels, and you could actually have one Talos, a room full of those dogs, and the larger beast all at once. So I'm here to try to minimize that for you so that we do one thing at a time and not have to deal with everything. I personally don't like getting grabbed by a dog and having my no damage session ruined. So what we're going to do is focus all of our efforts on getting the circle button over the Cerberus mongrel once he spawns. But to do that, we need to make sure that we get the circle over both of these enemies, like I said, and then execute them accordingly. TST is the best way to do it. There will be another way to do it too. If you want to press just triangle and then do light chipping with square, that's perfectly fine. Normally when they both do their overhead vertical attack, I will do square, triangle, square. I'm sorry, a triangle. TST. TST is like the best move you can do, but there's no whoring any specific corner. There's no luring any enemy into water like we've done before. This is the third and final encounter with the bronze taloses, and it, like I said, it's just a slugfest of misery over here. So you remember, you need to make sure that you're unremitting with your hits and that you don't let up, especially when they get that yellow color, because fights can be drawn out if you don't hit them while they're overheating is what's happening over here. I've had fights drag on for quite some time because I didn't do that sort of unrelenting combat with them. But you might say, well, square would be faster, wouldn't it? Yeah, square's fine, but you also, I think right there, I'm sorry, I went into the picture mode, and I'm not sure I was pausing it that way. But my finger got so pained here that I had to switch in the accessibility settings. I had to switch block to R1 temporarily. This just takes forever. These guys are so tanky. But yeah, so the last time I did this, I took out both of them, like I'm going to show you, but I was kicking the smaller dogs at the larger dog, and it just doesn't work very well because you can inadvertently try to grab onto him when you don't want to, and then the other dogs just pile on you. It's just not good. So I'm going to show you how to use the mount in the best way that you possibly can, where it's not such a bullshit fest. But once that mongrel comes out, don't ever do plumes or super plumes while he's off camera, because he is likely running at you, so you're going to collide with him and take damage. He's also got a fireball attack that he does. He sits back on his hind legs and then he fires fireballs. You can't block them. and obviously you can't parry them on Pain Plus. So what you have to do is just roll away from those. But I'm going to show you how not to do that. You can practice this enemy, the one coming up in the arena. It is the enemy that we fought when we were protecting the chain. It's the enemy that we fought right after meeting up with Prometheus. It has the same amount of HP, and you have 30 seconds to subdue it. I think I mentioned that, right? You have 30 seconds before the other smaller dogs come out. And what you want to do is you want to parry his attacks so that you can get the advantage of him getting staggered afterwards. These enemies you parry, of course, they're not going to get staggered. But with the dog, the lighter enemy. Okay, I just want to mention what happened over here. I have the circle button over one of them, and because I was doing distributive damage, I should be able to take out the other one without inadvertently killing the one with the circle. The one with the circle still has a lot of life, but if you're a couple of tiers below breaking the armor off of the other one, you could inadvertently kill the one with the circle. So you want to avoid that at all costs, and you want to do distributive damage so that you're not always focusing on the same enemy during that fight. So what usually happens is the one that doesn't have the circle, he's just getting to that final phase over here if you're distributing the damage. And this shouldn't take too long over here. So what I'm going to do though is use the mongrel to destroy the smaller hounds, and then any one of the taillesses, if they get killed, great. I don't mind fighting this enemy. This is not a hard enemy to deal with. I'd rather deal with this enemy than with dogs rushing after me and potentially, putting it up to chance. So I'd rather put my money where my mouth is, so to speak, and not take that chance. I'm not taking a chance with the dogs. I tried too many times, only to fail, because they're aggressive, just like the whelps. So spacing these enemies apart is not the easiest thing to do. That's why we're being really tentative. I'm not trying to damage that one with the circle whatsoever if I can help it. But it is really nice that he has a lot of health reserve so that you can hit the one without the circle even when the one with the circle is around. Now, what you might say, don't do the circle, just kill them with hits. That's going to take too long. It just takes too long. But remember, after this one dies, immediately you'll see the mongrel spawning. Okay, and now you have to kill this one, and remember, you only have 30 seconds, so the clock is ticking over here. You want to parry his attacks and use the triangle. You want to use the heavy attack that does the more damage. If you see him squatting and doing the fireball, just roll away. But if you're in his face like this, he should be very aggressive towards you and give you opportunities to hit and parry. But don't worry about combos. Don't do combos. Just parry his attacks and do heavies, and just do that. So the dogs spawn right when you got the circle button, so that's all I care about. I don't want to deal with the dogs. They're too problematic. So now that I'm on the mount, I'm gonna just destroy the dogs, and as long as I destroy the dogs, I'm happy. You can actually get hit by those taillesses while you're on the mount. It's ridiculous, but you don't take damage. It sounds like you're taking damage though. And if you don't do the QuickTime buttons properly, you'll get flung off, and you have to be very fast about them too. I still had one dog or two left, but it beats having the whole room. I hated this. This is very difficult, but I hope that I showed you a good way to isolate these enemies, because they're a real nuisance when they're paired up with one another. And you can use mounts on Pain Plus, so it's fine. I think you have to. I don't know. Sometimes the mongrels can't be killed because they force you to get on them. But I will take one of these any day. I will even take two of them. It doesn't matter to me as long as I don't have to put it up all to chance. I hate that. And I hope that that you didn't have too many problems with this, because this is a I don't know. I'm just trying to maintain the thread of no damage on all the fights, not the bosses, which I have way more of a hard time doing, but other fights on this walkthrough. So with the endurance fight, I have done that no damage, and it's on this channel right now. I am going to be trying to do it again no damage. I don't think I'm going to use the same footage. I don't have that footage anymore, but I could download the video. I'm not sure. I don't think I would like to do that. I want fresh content. So even if I have to, my ego is not going to let me take damage on that. I'll be stuck there for forever, but we'll see what happens. We will see. But I think the way that I did it this time is much more safe and just reliant on one's skill rather than leaving it up to chance. Because if you're in a room kicking those dogs that are running up to you, and with the mongrel always on your back, like right next to you, you're invariably gonna have Kratos try to grab the large dog, and you're gonna get staggered, and the dogs are gonna jump on you. It's so bad. It's really awful. I wish there was just no animation for grabbing things that you shouldn't grab. Really wish there was that. So now we have a couple puzzles over here. And if you're curious, the labyrinth will be 3 segments long. This will be the first, obviously. The second will be the heart of the labyrinth, which we'll get to at the end of this video, where Pandora is being kept. And then the third section will be the endurance fight. So there's 3 parts to the labyrinth. Oh, this room over here has, I think this is the one area in the game that has the Labyrinth Minotaur. It is the same enemy with the same HP as the Elite. The only difference that I know of is that it has a gold plating in the middle of its weapon, but I think it would be much more threatening if it had maybe one more move, and if it was a little bit taller. But it's still a bitchy enemy, and I don't like it. So the spikes should always be the same for your session. They don't deviate on this. So the only thing that I don't like about this is that the sirens, I believe that when you're riding the harpy, the sirens can throw the projectiles at you and hit you, and I really don't like that at all. And since they're floating, they don't get damaged by the spikes all the time. I think if they get knocked over, they can get killed. But yeah, the Labyrinth Minotaur, there was some rumor I heard where someone said it had a move where it threw attacks, but that's untrue. It doesn't do that. It's a lazy rendition of the Elite Minotaur. It has just a different plating on its weapon. In fact, on the endurance fight coming up, I'm not even sure if you fight the Labyrinth ones. You could very well. You probably do. I'm not sure, but I'm not going to indulge any extra enemies over here because we still have a couple of them left. There's a Legionnaire and 3 of these sirens. So for some reason, it looks like the floor is not doing the spikes anymore. Oh yeah, maybe the whole room is spikes. I can't see the bottom part there. Yeah, we were on a timer, so obviously. Am I getting hit? Did that hit me? I mean, I'll have to look, because you get a checkpoint right over here. So if you get hit, it checkpoints you, and you can get checkpointed with damage. But Okay, so maybe you don't get hit while you're riding the harpy by those sirens. That's good because, that's not fair at all. Okay, I will see you in the second of the 3 labyrinth sections for now. As we transition to the second one, please take care.